Hi there. Welcome to the podcast that aims to help you to care for your horse, dog, or other animal naturally. I'm Suzanne and I'm founder of Taranet, a leading international natural animal healthcare resource at taranet.co.uk. In this podcast episode, find out more about how you can use natural therapies to care for your foal or young horse. So, I think we can all agree a young horse or a foal in the field looks incredibly sweet. And what help could they possibly need to have a naturally healthy lifestyle? Because after all, at that age when they're growing up, they may perhaps not need the same amount of care and or under the same stresses and strains that a horse is when it's older and is ridden or driven. So I think it's important to recognise that even from a very young age, training needs to take place so your foal or young horse is well handled and can grow up to cope with the stresses and strains and demands of the lifestyle of being a horse. Because for most people, they keep horses to exercise them, to ride them or drive them as carriage driving horses, or they use for breeding. So it's certainly the case that a horse needs to get used to being able to understand the sights and smells and different things that can go on in their lives as they grow up. And it all can be really daunting. So I think first of all, the first tip I would use is to give you an idea about how to handle your horse naturally. So as it's growing up, your young horse or foal could really get quite nervous. They could become quite fearful of certain situations. And it's important to recognise where a case is that the horse is genuinely scared because doesn't know what is happening, or it's scared because it's had a bad experience. Obviously, if you have the horse from its birth, you should know whether it's actually scared because of a previous experience or not. Either way, there would be a back flower remedy that you can use to help. As many of my regular listeners and customers will know, I absolutely love the back flower remedy system. There are 38 different remedies, all used for different emotions and situations. So, a back flower remedy could be used where there's a known fear or to help with learning and education, to help when a horse is dominant. Sometimes a horse of any age will actually think, I know what to do here, and get quite over exuberant. So there certainly is a back flower remedy you can use to help with handling and to get a horse used to being able to cope with different situations. Of course, no remedy will actually take the place of good handling and responsible horsemanship, of course. You can also use something called the Tellington Touch technique. Tellington Touch is a holistic training technique and it really helps with body awareness, which then can increase confidence. And it is very gentle. It really helps to instill a natural, gentle, calm approach to life. Next, if your horse is young, and it's so young it actually needs to be weaned, that's a very stressful situation too. So again, a back flower remedy can really help with weaning. And it can also be used for not just the foal, but also for the mother too. So the mare is actually not too traumatised either. Of course, not every animal when it's weaned will be traumatised or will find it difficult. I know, for instance, with one of my donkeys, they had a foal before I got her, and apparently, according to the donkey sanctuary, my donkey soon and the foal soon just decided not to spend so much time together, so they actually weren't that bothered, which is great if that's the case. Everybody's different, and the same with our animals too. So in terms of weaning, as well as back flower remedies, you could find an energy therapy like Reiki or radionics could be really helpful. Reiki and radionics both can be used to help relieve tension and anxiety. Likewise, zoopharmacognosy or aromatherapy can also be used to help relieve tension. Next, the third tip would be thinking about movement and shelter. So just generally, in terms of having a holistic and good natural horsemanship approach, 24-hour turnout with the mum is definitely best in a large field. But of course, you need to ensure that the field has shelter from the wind, rain or sun. And a good large established hedge is best. to ensure that your horse and young foal have a good opportunity to take shelter, and also to enjoy any natural herbs that are growing in the hedgerows too. A field shelter or two is also a great idea. Likewise, as well as having hedgerows that are full of natural herbs and goodness, if you've got a field that's excellent pasture and has herbs or good quality meadow plants, it will add variety to the diet, which all can help with the growth of your young horse or foal. If you don't actually have meadow plants and herbs growing in your pasture, you can find many grass seed companies also sell meadow mixes and herbs for improving pasture for horses. So it's certainly worth looking into if that's something you would like to do. The fourth tip would be about nutrition. So linking into my previous tip about herbs and hedgerows and the like, you are what you eat is a well-known phrase, and it's certainly true for our horses as well. Of course, while your foal is drinking its mum's milk, the nutrition for your mare is even more essential. It's best to think about nutrition before the foal is born. So when your mare is pregnant, make sure that your mare is getting the adequate nutrition and any supplements that she needs to ensure that she's not only looking after herself and her body, but is also enabling the foal to have as good and healthy quality lifestyle from the beginning as possible. Some herbal supplements can be really useful, as can some homeopathy to help promote good health. There are many homeopathic veterinary surgeons around the world who'd be able to give you a consultation to help your mare and foal when it's born to be able to have as natural lifestyle as possible and to promote good health and overall well-being. And my fifth tip is about foot care. So a foal's feet need care. It's possible that when a foal is born or as a young horse grows up, that its feet develop different conformational problems, and certainly if the foot is cared for at a young age, then it hopefully will grow up not having any stresses and strains on its limbs as it grows older. Sometimes though, the farrier is an extremely scary experience. You may certainly know of horses who've been on livery yards or stable yards, or have a horse yourself who's really scared of the farrier. I've certainly been in the past aware when I used to be at a livery yard, some horses had to be sedated for the farrier, which is quite horrendous really, isn't it? But I think that just goes to show how traumatising it can be. And who can blame a young horse, being a bit worried, having somebody, a strange person they don't see every day, coming along, lifting their feet up, and also as they're growing older, tapping nails into their feet. It's all very, having their feet rasped, it's all very stressful. So to help make sure the farrier experience is as good as possible, again, it comes down to good horsemanship and understanding and patience. But certainly there are therapies that can also be used to help. So back flower remedies can also be useful here too, because they help with emotions, as I said earlier. And there's also energy therapies like Reiki and radionics that, again, as I mentioned before, are really great for relieving tension and anxiety and could be useful too. So there's 5 great tips there, which I hope you found interesting. So yeah, handling, weaning, nutrition, foot care, movement and shelter. Back flower remedies have got a great role to play in many aspects of this, as has herbal remedies, herbal supplements and homeopathy. If you need any advice on what herbs to use, then again, there are veterinary surgeons who specialise in herbal medicine, and many natural animal healthcare feed companies who provide supplements that are herbal also can provide general advice too, like Hilton Herbs or Natural Animal Feeds, and there are many others as well. Remember, as with any horse or any other animal's ailments or well-being, that if you're extremely concerned about anything, or if your animal's on any pre-existing medication, then do ensure you speak to a veterinary surgeon first before you try any remedies or therapies. And if you're unsure about training and how to handle your young horse, then of course there are riding instructors. British Horse Society riding instructors are qualified to provide advice, and you'll also find that many riding instructors now are also trained in natural horsemanship. I would say in natural horsemanship there are a variety of approaches and techniques to this, and a lot of it actually is based in just plain common sense. But certainly, if you would like any help sourcing any veterinary surgeons that are holistic or any natural horsemanship practitioners, then do please feel free to email me at info@taranet.co.uk, as I'll be pleased to help. So I hope that's been a useful overview of how you can use natural therapies to help with a range of young horse tips and care. And as I say, if you've got any questions about any therapies, and you can also visit my website at taranet.co.uk, where I've got dozens of pages on natural therapies to help your horse or other animal. And lastly, if you know anybody who would enjoy finding out more about how to help their young horse, then please do feel free to share this podcast, and please also rate it and like it on the podcast vehicle that you're using, whether that's iTunes or something else. I'd be really grateful for that, and thank you for listening, and until next time, goodbye.